Hello everyone, welcome to GaBi software tutorial and introduction to lifecycle assessment. My name is Dr. Husuli and today we're gonna go through the software and we're gonna learn about the lifecycle assessment basics and fundamentals. Okay, let's start by opening the GaBi software. If you are a Kingston University student and if you are on campus, you have access to the software. So what you need to do, you need to go and click on a software called Apps Anywhere, this icon over here. So I'm gonna click on that. Depending on my system, I'm gonna wait a couple of seconds or minutes, and then on this window, if this is the first time you are launching this software, you are not gonna have GaBi software here. So in order to find it, what you need to do, you need to go over here and just type GaBi. And then what I need to do, I need to click on launch, and I'm gonna wait couple of minutes. Okay, then I'll be able to work with the GaBi software. The first thing you need to do is to activate the database. And in your case, it might be already been activated. However, if it's not the case, what we're gonna do, in first page, you're gonna go and take a look at this section, which calls Open Database and link to the local database. If you don't have anything here, what you need to do, you need to click on Borrows and then select your database. Otherwise, you just only need to activate your database. So you're gonna select your database here, which in your case is gonna be Educational Database 2020. And then what you need to do, you need to activate this database. So I'm gonna click on Open. And it's gonna take a couple of minutes to database to be activated. I'm gonna wait for this, and once the database is activated, I'm ready to use GaBi software. Once you have the GaBi software, and once you have the database activated, you're gonna notice a change over here. So you're gonna have project modeling and other elements of the GaBi software. To start and create our project, I'm gonna click on here, and then I'm gonna create a new project. So I'm on the right hand side, I'm gonna have a right click and then new, what I'm trying to do here is to create a new project. In this window, over here, in this area, what I'm gonna write, because our case is gonna be study on the production of a steel paper clip, I'm gonna write down here, Kingston Uni, steel paper clip, yeah? And what else I need to do? I need to make sure to click on activate project, yeah? I'm gonna activate my project, and as you can see here, my project's now, if I close this window, my project is gonna be here. So every flow, every process, or any other thing that I'm gonna do under this project is gonna be here, and it's gonna help me a lot during the LCA analysis. Now it's time to create our plan. And on this plan, you will be able to model the life cycle of the paper clip, steel paper clip. What we need to do, we're gonna go on the left-hand side to plan. And we're gonna right-click and add a new plan. And then here, we need to write our plan. I'm gonna write Kingston Uni, LC lifecycle, steel, paper clip, yeah? And I need to also save my plan. So in this plan, I'm gonna be able to add my processes, my flows, and all the other elements of this analysis. So I'm gonna click, in order to save it, I'm gonna click here on save. The other way to do that is to go to the object and then click save over here. So once I have my plan, I can see the created plan in two different ways. The first way is from the left hand side, I click on project and I should be able to see the plan that I have created. So if I click here and open it, basically open the project, then I'm gonna be able to see the plan. And under this plan, I should be able to do all of my lifecycle analysis, including adding the processes, flows, and other elements. The other way to see and find this plan is, again, from the left hand side. If I click on plans here, I should be able to see my recently created plan over here. In order to open it, again, I'm gonna double click here, and then now I have my Kingston Uni Lifecycle Steel Paperclip plan. Now it's time to add our processes and flows. So we're gonna start with steel wire process. And we have, again, a couple of ways to add this process to our plan. The first way is to go to the processes, again on the left hand side, and then open it, and then look in order to find our plan or process, basically. Another way is to, in order to recall our plan, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click on Windows Manager here, and then I'm gonna open my Kingston Uni Lifecycle Steel Paperclip window. So on here, what I'm gonna do, over here, as you can see, search, I'm gonna click on here, and in this menu, it takes a little bit on my PC. Okay, over here, what I'm gonna do, because I'm looking for steel wire, so I'm gonna type steel wire, yeah? And then I'm gonna define the type, which in my case, it's the plans or process, so, and then I'm gonna click on search. So now, what I'm gonna have basically different processes for steel wire. So the first one is the process that I'm looking for. So what I'm gonna do, basically I'm gonna select it and just drag and drop it over here. So if I go back to my plan, now I should have the process related to the steel wire over here. If I'm looking for any other processes, again, I have different ways to do it. So as I explained, one's to go through the process on the left hand side, the other one is through the search function over here. Yeah. The next step is to steel bending. So for this process, or for any other process that we don't have in our library, we can easily create it, which I'm gonna later cover to how we can actually make a new process. In GaBi software, I have availability to create a new process. So after steel wire process, what I'm looking for is paperclip bending. And if this process is not available in the GaBi library, I can create the process easily. In order to create a new process in plan window, so under my KU Lifecycle Steel Paperclip plan, anywhere, I'm gonna right click over here, and then I'm gonna select new process. In this new window, I have to locate where this new process belongs. So it belongs, in my opinion, to production, and I'm gonna then select part production, and then gonna click OK. So here in this window, basically I have to define my process. So starting from the country on the left hand side, so depending on where you are looking for, in your case, you're gonna define the location for your process. Because the GaBi software is a German-based software, so I'm gonna select Germany, but you can select any other country depending on your case. And then here, what I need to write, I need to name my process, yeah? So in my case, it's Kingston Uni Paperclip bending, yeah? And here, this is the source that I got my information, which we're gonna take a look at it later. And over here, which is also very important, is to the type of the process. So we're gonna cover all of these elements in our class later. However, for this case, we need to select U-SO, which means that unit process single operation. So we have different kind of basically selections over here, but for this case, we're gonna go with the unit process single operation. Therefore, I'm gonna select this one, and then I have defined this area of my process for the paperclip bending. Okay, once we have defined our process information in terms of name, country, and the source, More importantly, because this process, it doesn't have enough information, yeah? It just has a name for the moment. So we need to add inputs and outputs. Over here, under the parameters, as you can see, we have LCA, LCC, if you have information on the costs, and then other tabs, or even we can have documentation for it. For the moment, we're gonna focus on the LCA, and what we need to add here, we need to add input and output flows. So for the input, for any process, we have different kind of needs. So it could be energy inputs like heat, electricity, compressed air, or it could be material. So in this case, for example, it's gonna be steel, or it could be any lubricants, for example. And for output flows, we usually have our products and byproducts. So let's start with adding our first flow, yeah? So I'm gonna click over here, so in order to be able to edit it, basically. So the first element that I need is a material type element, which is the steel wire. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click steel, I'm gonna write the steel, and then I'm gonna write wire, yeah? And then I'm gonna hit enter, and this window is gonna pop up, and basically it's gonna shows all the processes that I have in all the flows that I have in my GaBi library. So in my case, because it's steel wire, so if I do this, I can see here, for example, the name, the type of source, the parent folder, and the last chain. So in my case, for example, I'm looking for a steel wire as a material input, and I'm always need to be cautious about the parent folder. So always good to look which types of the parent folder it belongs. So here, metals, or it could be processing. So in my case, because I'm interested in a steel wire as a metal, I'm gonna select it and then click accept over here. Now I'm gonna have my steel wire over here. The other element or other input that I'm looking for, I'm interested in the spending process, electricity. So again, in a new line, I'm gonna click over here. I'm just gonna type electricity, yeah? And then I'm gonna click, or I'm gonna enter, yeah? I'm gonna enter the electricity, and again, it's gonna show me all the information, all the keywords regarding to the flows that contains electricity. So it could be electricity, or it could be electricity from hard coal, or any other information. Again, I need to be very cautious about the parent folder. And in my case, because I need electric power, so I'm gonna select this one, electricity, and then I'm gonna double click, or I can also go and select accept over here. But in this case, to need to be different from the previous one, so I'm gonna select electricity and double click here. And now in my input flow, I have steel wire as a mass, as you can see, as a quantity, and also I have electricity, which is the energy type. Okay, once we have defined our input flows, we need to also define our output flow. So in this case, because we are looking to produce steel paperclip, what I'm gonna basically use and do here in flows, I'm gonna click and look for steel paperclip, yeah? It could be any product, as I said, or any output flows. It could be material, or it could be anything else. But in our case, because we are looking for steel paper production, so I'm gonna search for steel paperclip. If it's in the library, similar to the input flows, I should be able to select. If not, so in this case, if I click in there, it says that there is no match for steel paperclip. In most scenarios or some cases, when you're looking for a specific area, you're not gonna have your output flow. So here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click on create new object over here. And then here, what I need to do, I need to define where it belongs to. So in our case, because this is our product, so it goes under valuable substances. So I click here, open it here, and then I need to go to systems over here, and then I'm gonna go to parts and then metal parts. So I'm gonna select and then I'm gonna click OK. So now I have defined which type of output flow I have. Now here, as you can see, we have defined the name of our flow. However, there is no information about the quantity or other information regarding to our output flow. So what I need to do, I need to add those information over here. So over here under this section, what I need to do, so I know that each paperclip has a weight of 0.35 grams. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna write down number of pieces, and then I'm gonna click enter. Yeah, once I click enter, then I have here a unit which shows me the number of pieces. Yeah, so it's gonna be number of pieces, and what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna define the mass of it. Yeah, so it says that 1 kilogram is equal to this. Yeah, so I'm gonna put here 0.00035, which is equal to 0.35 grams per steel paper clip. So I'm gonna click enter, and it's basically gonna show the amount of the weight regarding to 1 kilo of this output flow. I'm gonna save this, and what I'm gonna have here now, if I close it, now I have it here. And as you can see here, so I have already defined it as a output flow, as a steel paper clip, is a metal part, and the quantity, as you can see, it's based on the mass, which is true. We now have all the input and output flows. However, as you can see here, the amount of these input and output flows are not clear. So what I need to do, I actually need to define those values as well. Okay, now we have to define the amount of them. So as you can see here, we have different units over here. And the part of the LCA, as we have covered already, is to the source of the information that we have. So let's consider, in order to make one steel paper clip, I'm gonna need 0.0001 kilowatt hour, yeah, of electricity. So I'm gonna select my unit to kilowatt hour, and I'm gonna enter the value regarding to electricity. So I'm gonna put 0.0001 kilowatt hour, and then I'm gonna hit enter. The other part I need to define is to the output. So I'm looking for LCA of the one paper clip here. So here, under the quantities, if I select the number of pieces, as I said, and I put 1 over here, so this is gonna show me basically data for one steel paper clip. The good thing with the GaBi is that if I change the unit, it's automatically gonna change the value as well regarding to my definition. So if I move this to move the quantities to change the quantities to mass, it's basically gonna show me the same amount that I have defined on my output flow as a 0.0035 kilogram. And considering the 100% of efficiency in terms of transforming or bending of a steel wire to a paper clip, then I should have equal amount of input of steel wire as well. So here I'm gonna again click on the amount, and I'm gonna put 0.00035 kilos. Yeah, now I have all the information entered for input flows and output flows. Okay, now we have all the input and output flows, and once we have saved this, I'm gonna close this, And if I go back to my plan over here, so I have my basically custom paperclip process as well over here. So this is from the library, and this is the process that I have made over here. So in the GaBi software, an important point is that we need to fix a process. So, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open this one, I'm gonna double click on this, and this window will pop up. So you remember that we have discussed everything about production of one paperclip. However, what I need to do here, I need to actually define one process as a fixed process in GaBi. So in this case, I decide this one is my fixed process. I'm gonna click over here, and then this basically shows me if I want to do for thousands of paper clips. So if I put thousands into this here, and then you can see all the amounts has been changed now to the thousands of paper clips. Even I can do it for example, for 500 paper clips, yeah? So as you can see, all the values now have been modified regarding to the 500s of them. Then I'm gonna click OK. So let's for now, let's put thousands of paper clips, yeah? And then I'm gonna click enter, and all the values now have been modified to thousands of paper clips. Now I'm gonna click enter, and now you can see there is a red cross over here which shows that this is my fixed process. In the GaBi software, you can have just only one fixed process. You can't have many fixed processes, and you can't run any simulation without having one fixed process. So it's always crucial to have at least one just one fixed process, okay? One of the nice features of GaBi software is that I can always modify my processes. So now, as you can see, we have a steel wire process as well as our defined KU, Kingston Uni paperclip bending. Yeah. Now let's say that I've decided now, if I double click here, instead of 1,000 that we have discussed, now I've decided I need 1,000,000 of these paperclips. Yeah. So I'm gonna write million in the scaling factor. I'm gonna click enter, and it's gonna basically update all of the fields for me. Then I'm gonna click OK. Okay. Another point that we need to add to our plan is if I go to the view over here and then click on show tracked in and outputs. Yeah. If I click here, now you see these red dots. Yeah, on the left and the right hand side of each of these processes. Basically, these red dots help me to define the number of inputs and outputs I need for each process. So as you may remember, on the paperclip bending, I had 2 inputs and I had 1 input as a paperclip. Yeah, steel paperclip. So this shows me basically I need 2 inputs here. And one of them was electricity, yeah? So what I need to do, I need to add electricity process to my plant, yeah? So similar to the previous time, I'm gonna go over here, click on search, yeah? And I'm gonna wait a couple of more seconds for this to show me all the electricities, yeah? What I'm gonna try to do, I'm gonna try to somehow minimize this to help me basically, yeah. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna minimize this to smaller size because I need to drag and drop, remember? So what I need to do, I need to look for basically electricity grid mix. And in our case, as I said, because we are looking for Germany in our case, so I'm gonna select this one, and easily what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna drag and drop it to my plant, yeah? So now, if I close this window, now what I have here is the electricity grid mix from Germany, yeah, which we can use later in order to have it as an input to our paperclip bending, yeah? Okay, now I have my electricity. What else is missing here is that, so let me rearrange this processes over here a little bit. Okay, what else I need here is I still need an input for my steel wires basically, which is gonna be a steel billets. Yeah, one of the ways that I can do it is to click here. Let me do it again. Click here on the process on the left hand side, yeah, on the red part. What I can do to, in order to define an input or output in our processes, is that I can click here and just drag my mouse, holding left click, and just leave it. What it's gonna do basically, gonna show me the options available for inputs to this process. So in our case, because I'm looking for steel billets, I'm gonna select the DE steel billets, and I'm just gonna click accept. Yeah. So now, as you can see here, I have my steel wire process with a flow going in from steel billets. Yeah. The other good points that I might need to add to my process to thinking about the transport. Yeah. And I think that maybe a truck would be a good option here. So in order to add the process of the transport with the truck, what I'm gonna do again, let's do it in a different way this time. Yeah, let's do from another method. So on the left hand side, I'm gonna go to the transport. I'm gonna open this one. Then I'm gonna go to the road. So I can select, as you can see, different transport methods. So I'm gonna select roads and truck. Yeah. So what I need to do, so I have different trucks basically. Yeah, different types of the trucks and different ways that I can use the truck. So each one of them shows a different capacity and different types of the emission. So I'm gonna select one I'm looking for it, and then I'm gonna add it to the process. Okay, now we have a list of trucks, and depending on our case, we have a different variety of trucks that we can select. So let's say that our truck is not a really good one. So it's a Euro 3 with a capacity of 12 to 14 tons. So I'm gonna take a look at and find this. So it's over here. What I need to do, I need to drag and drop. So a way to do this is actually I can minimize this window, and what I can do, I can just select this and drag and drop it to my plan over here. Yeah. So if I go back to this plan over here, I have now my input flow from steel billets to my steel wire process, and then I have also my paper clip, and also I have my electricity process, and also I have my truck. Once I have my transportation process, a good way to also modify this as well is to right click on here, go to the local setting, and if I go under the free parameters tab, so if you don't have it, so if you have something like this, you can always expand this. So you have fixed parameters, yeah, I can show you here, yeah, and also you have free parameters, yeah. So over here, what you can do, you can always decide and define the, for example, the distance. So in this case is 100 kilometer in our case, or you can modify to 1,000 or less or more. And also even you can define which share of the urban or rural area it's gonna take. So if it's, for example, 100 kilometers, it's gonna take, for example, how many percentage of this to go in the rural, or it's gonna be in the urban areas. For now, I don't need to change any of these values. I'm gonna stick with the defaults and also with the 100 kilometers of the distance. And I'm gonna click OK over here. So far we have a couple of processes over here. So let's rearrange them and then try to complete these processes. So we do remember that we had the truck basically in order to move our steel wires from this process to our paperclip production process over here, yeah. And also we had basically electricity as an input to our paperclip. And if you can't remember, what you can do, you can double click here and it's gonna pops up over here, which basically shows me. So if I close the free parameters and then also the fixed parameters, then I can see that as input flows, as you may remember, we had electricity and also steel wire. Yeah. So if I close this window, so what I'm missing over here is that basically electricity. So if I click on the electricity grid, as you may remember that we said, so from the output flow side, if I just hold the left mouse key and just connect to the paper clip, GaBi can automatically define that, okay, I have electricity output similar to what goes inside the electricity input flow of the paper clip. Yeah. What else I need to also consider here is that I need to also connect my steel wire rods basically to the truck that I'm interested that it's gonna be moved to my paper clip. Yeah. So what I need to do, as you can see, I have red dots over here. So I'm gonna click on this and then I'm gonna click over here, holding the left key on the mouse and just connect it to the truck. What's gonna happen here is that GaBi is gonna have difficulty to define the type of this connection automatically, because it needs to understand that the steel wire that I'm looking for, if it's a cargo or it's a diesel. So obviously it's a cargo, but it needs to be defined because my truck has two input flows. One as a cargo and the other one as a diesel. So what I'm going to do in the source side, I'm going to select the steel wire, and on the left hand side, on the right hand side in the sinks, I'm going to select cargo, and then I'm going to click OK. So now I have this connection over here, yeah, which goes from the steel wires to the truck. As you may notice, once I've defined one of these inputs, so it becomes black, but I still need to define another input to the truck, which is the diesel. So I'm going to use the auto selection, auto help function of the GaBi. So I'm going to select the truck, and then from the left hand side, I'm going to hold the left key, left click on the mouse and just drag and release it. Yeah, what it's going to do is going to basically show me the options that I have for a diesel. So because my case is Germany, what I'm going to do, I'm going to select DE, diesel mix at refinery, and then I'm going to click accept. So what it's going to do, it's also going to add the diesel mixture to my plant as well, yeah, to my truck as well. So I have now my truck with the input from the cargo input from my steel wire, and then a diesel input from my diesel refinery. Yeah. The last step basically here is to connect this basically to our paperclip bending unit or paperclip bending process. So what I'm gonna do, so on the truck side, as you can see, just only one red dot, and also here we have one red dot, which is the input of our material. So I'm gonna hold again left on the mouse and just connect these together, and it's gonna define my connection between the truck and the paperclip. You can also rearrange this, so you can move different processes and try to rearrange the look of it. So what I can do, probably I can do this, and yeah, I can basically modify it any way I want. Or I can, for example, move the truck over here, maybe for a better look, or any other area. So what I can do basically, I can define different locations and try to have it in a more interesting way, which gets worse and worse, I guess. But however, I can define it in a different ways, yeah? Once I have all of my processes and all of my flow, what I need to think about, I need to think about the use phase and the end of life scenario. So starting from the use phase, let's consider that each paper clip that we have produced is gonna be used for waste recovery, and it doesn't have any environmental damage. So it doesn't have any contribution to the air pollution during the use phase, and no other environmental damage during the use phase, and everything in terms of each paperclip weight, which is 0.0035 kilograms, is gonna be used with the same amount for waste recovery in the steel plant. So what I need to add now, I need to add my process phase as well. Use phase as a new process as well. So what I'm going to do, as usual, I'm going to right click here in order to create my use process. I'm going to click on the new process, and on this window I'm going to select use one over here, and I'm going to click OK. Now I have to put all the information about my use process. So we need to start from the name. So what I need to do, I need to define a name for this use process. I'm gonna call it Kingston Uni use phase steel paperclip, yeah? And I'm just gonna click OK. And also over here, what I need to be keep in mind is that for this one, unit process single operation is the right selection. However, about the other options, we will cover during our LCA session. So I select this one, and as usual, what I need to do, I need to define the input flows and output flows. So we do remember that because we have a paperclip, so over here, I'm gonna click over here as a flow, and I'm gonna put steel paperclip, yeah? And as we know, weight per paperclip is 0.00035 kilogram, yeah? So it means that we have an input flow in the use phase as one paperclip as a 0.00035 kilogram. And because we have said that we don't have any contribution from this use process to the air pollution or environmental damages, so the only output flow is going to be the exact same steel paperclip, which will be used for waste recovery. Yeah, so which is this basically is this, it's a steel scrap. Yeah, so what I need to define as output flow over here, I need to write steel scrap. Yeah, I'm just gonna click enter, and it's basically gonna shows all the match with the keyword that I've mentioned. Yeah, and over here I'm gonna select steel scrap waste for recovery. Yeah, as my option. So I'm gonna click accept, and it's gonna have over here, so steel scrap waste for recovery. And because, as I said, we don't have any waste or any other contribution to the environmental damage, so everything that we have as an input in this process is gonna be output in our process as well. So I put here 0.00035 kilograms, which will be used for waste recovery. Yeah, and what I need to do next, I need to save this. Yeah, once I've saved this, I can close this window, and then I have my use process over here. What I need to do now, I need to connect my paperclip bending to the use phase. Yeah, so what I need to do exactly here is that I need to select over here and then connect it to my use phase. Now I have my use phase flow also defined from my paperclip to the use phase. I would like to also make some changes here. Yeah, so as you can see here on the electricity grid mix, I need to define some inputs. Yeah, it's gonna add more complexity to my system. Yeah, so if I open this one, as you can see here, so if I want to go deep in the life cycle assessment, I can have a definition, parameters of the flows, as a, for example, from solar thermal, yeah, to my electricity plant. So, but if I want to go more simple in terms of the electricity for my paperclip process, I need to define much simpler electricity process. Yeah. So this is the assumption and decision I made during the LCA analysis. So in order to do that, I'm gonna go and from this search menu over here, well, I'm gonna take a look this time. I'm gonna take a look for a much simpler electricity, yeah, process. So over here, I'm gonna write electricity and click enter, and it's gonna show me basically all the available match for it. So as you can see here, there is a difference. So what we have defined previously was a plan. So plan means that it's going to have inputs which we need to define them separately, as I showed you, for example, solar ones. Or I can go much simpler with just process, yeah? So what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to try to replace the previous plan with a much simpler process here. So I'm going to look for Germany. Over here, I'm going to just select electricity grid mix, yeah? And I'm just going to drag and drop it over here, yeah? And this, then close this one. So I'm going to move this over here that you guys can make a comparison, yeah? As you can see here now, I just have one output flow, but over here I have two inputs and one output flow. So the difference here is that in this one I don't have input, yeah? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna delete this one and I'm just gonna connect. So as you can see, once I've deleted, in the paperclip side, now I have again another red dot over here, which means that I'm missing an input to my process. So I'm gonna do what I'm gonna select electricity grid mix. I'm just gonna hold the left key on the mouse and just gonna connect from this to my paperclip one. Now this one becomes black and also this one becomes black. So this is also much easier for me to do a life cycle assessment. Okay, once we have defined all the processes, flows, and even the use phase, now the last step is to define our end life plan, yeah? In order to define our end life plan, what we need to do, we need to go back to the initial menu, and how we can navigate to that menu is that over here, and then we go to the DB manager, yeah? Over here, as you can see, we have different basically tabs, and what we need to do, we need to create a new plan for end of life plan, yeah? So I'm gonna select this one, then right click and then select new. So this window, in this window, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna first of all name my plan. So I'm gonna call it Kingston Uni, yeah? End life steel paperclip, yeah? Any name we can put, but we add this one. So over here, what we need to think that what we're gonna do with all of those paper clips, yeah? So let's consider that all is gonna be inside the electric furnace and it's gonna be melted and reused, yeah? So what we need to do here, we need to basically add the new process to this plan, which is the end of life process, yeah? So similar to the previous ones, I'm gonna search for the process that I'm looking for. So I'm gonna click search over here and gonna wait 2-3 seconds just to load up. There you go. So here in the object name, what I'm gonna look for it, I'm gonna look for steel billet, yeah? I'm just gonna click this one. And over here, what I'm gonna look for, yeah, electric furnace, yeah? So electric furnace, I'm gonna select this as a metal production. What I'm gonna do, as usual, I'm gonna drag and drop to my plan, which is this one, it's the end of life plan. So I'm gonna just drag and drop it here, yeah? And then later I can close this window. So now I have this process here, which is the electric furnace process. However, as you do remember probably, for each plan we have to have a one fixed process, yeah? So because for this one we have just only one process over here, so I'm gonna double click over here and I'm just gonna say that the scaling factor is 1 and I'm just gonna fix the process over here and then I'm gonna just click OK. Okay, once I have my end of life paperclip plan and I have my process of electric furnace as well, what I need to do, I need to save this plan, yeah? Once I save this, now I can close this plan and I'm gonna go back to the initial GaBi front page. Over here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to plan as you can see here, and I'm gonna select KU end of life paperclip that I've just made as an end of life plan. I'm gonna reduce the size of this window, and I'm just gonna drag and drop it to my life cycle assessment plan. I'm just gonna move to this page over here, and as you can see, this is our recently built plan. One thing I can do here, I can go to the view, click on view, and then click on show flow quantities. If I click here, which basically it's gonna do, it's gonna show the mass flows between the different processes. Yeah. So right now what we need to do, we need to connect our phase process to our end of life plan. Yeah. So what does it mean? It means that all the paperclip that has been used, now it's ready to be scrapped and go inside the electric furnace. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select the use phase, and by holding the right key on the keyboard, yeah, I'm gonna have this connection going out from the use phase and coming into my end of life plan. Yeah. And then gonna click OK, and it's gonna shows the amount of the mass is going to this one. What else I can do now as end life? I can select this, and again, holding the left key on the mouse, I'm gonna do this and connect it to the steel wire rod over here. Yeah. And now what you can see basically here is that from 350 kilos going inside the electric furnace, I have 332, and it can be also used as a feed into my steel wire rod. Yeah. So now we are almost completed our life cycle assessment plan inside the GaBi, and now we're gonna go head to receiving the results and analyzing the results from now on. Once we have defined all of our processes and all of our basically flows between the different processes, now we can also see the results. So in order to see the results, what we need to do under our plan, which is the Kingston Uni Lifecycle Steel Paperclip plan, I head to this section which calls results calculation. So it needs to be calculated in order to give us an LCI as well as LCIA results. So I'm gonna click on the results calculation, and if the plan is not saved yet, it's gonna ask me to save the plan. Because I already saved the plan, so it's probably not gonna ask for it and just gonna calculate it directly. It's gonna take a few moments, and what I'm gonna have basically, I'm gonna have all the results regarding to my design plan in terms of the LCIA and also LCI. So what I can see here, basically I can see all source and variety of information regarding environmental aspects and LCIA and LCA analysis. Yeah. So I can see all of the information, and even I can, for example, change it from the steel paperclip plan. I can also, for example, changing to the end of life paperclip. It's gonna show me the global warming potentials. So I have all sorts of information over here. What I can do also, I can go to the results. For example, it shows me the overall values in terms of the emission to the fresh water or resources. So all the information is now here. So I can navigate through the different results and try to get all of the information over here. The details about the result analysis will be discussed during our session, but I think that now you could use all of this information in order to execute your courseworks. Thank you very much, and this is the end of our tutorial on the GaBi software.